This video is sponsored by Keeper. So the Apple Vision Pro, it's been out for a few days now. We've seen the memes, we've seen the people being wild in public, but there are still a lot of normal, everyday questions that people have about Apple Vision Pro. I put out a tweet to see and kind of engage with you all to see what questions you might have. And so in this video, we're bringing in the podcast mic, we're taking things down, we're chilling out, and I'm answering your questions. And the first question says, can you give us some impressions on the amount of storage to get? How much does the base OS use, and how large are the apps with data? So I'm not seeing an exact number on here for the Vision OS part, but it looks to be very minimal. I mean, you can see like the breakdown by color of what is, obviously I have way too much storage available. This is the 1 terabyte model. And so, yeah, that might be a little overkill. It looks like downloads for like an episode of The Morning Show, which I did download. It bumped the Apple TV Plus app from being at like the bottom of the list. Unfortunately, I don't remember offhand what it was at, but now it's at 1.75 gigs. So it doesn't show the exact number per episode, but I'm sure if we did math, we could probably figure it out. But you can just kind of get an idea of what the app sizes are like. Most apps are in that 200 to 500 meg range. For most Vision OS apps and even iPad apps, it kind of doesn't really matter. They're both pretty large. Obviously, more data that the app can hold or download, the more information that it needs, that will continue to grow. But my recommendation of like maybe splitting the difference and going from 512 basically will still stand. I think 256 might be a little too low. 1 terabyte might be overkill, but I guess you can never have too many. Maybe 512 is probably that good difference there that you're going to want to go with. If you can connect a MacBook to Apple Vision Pro that has a mouse connected to the MacBook, will that mouse work with Apple Vision Pro? Because AVP doesn't support mouse on its own. I'm still very unsure about that last part because it does support a mouse. It supports a trackpad. So, I mean, it supports cursors, but not necessarily a Magic Mouse per se. So what I've tested, yes, it will work with the Mac in Apple Vision Pro. Apple Vision Pro apps will also work with whatever keyboard and mouse that you have set up, but for some reason, not the Magic Mouse. The trackpad works just fine. So if you're looking at your MacBook, the MacBook keyboard and the trackpad will work, and you can drag it over to other apps in your setup that you got going on. It doesn't have to be a Mac app, can be an Apple Vision Pro app. But I have tried it with my Magic Mouse that I have set up to my Mac Studio, and that does not work. Similar question here. AVP supports keyboards, mice, and game controllers. The only question that I have not seen answered is if you have a keyboard mouse connected to Apple Vision Pro, can you use that to control your Mac screen and not even be in the same room as the Mac since it's streaming the display over Wi-Fi? And the answer is yes. It just depends on how far you go and the connection. So I did, and I don't have the ability to show you this, but I did try at my house. My iMac's in the basement. I went up to the first floor. It kind of struggled going up that far, but that's in its own room in the basement. If I went to like the other, like if I left and went a little bit somewhere in that area, it'll work just fine. And here in the studio is where I tested, and as you can see here, I took it, it's a one big space, but there is a bathroom. So I took it from one end of the space all the way down to the end where the bathroom is at. And I went in the bathroom. It's under construction, so just disregard the mess. But I went into the bathroom. I took my Magic Keyboard and the mouse, and it worked just fine. So yeah, you can walk around. It's really just going to depend on how far you can go and how stable that connection will be. But it works totally fine. Is there any way to do multiple Mac OS screens, even if all other Vision Pro apps are disabled? No, but that would be great, and hopefully it can come in the next Vision OS update. I'm not entirely sure if that's a hardware or software limitation, could be both, but if it's possible, I'm hoping that something in the future can be enabled like that, because it'd be nice to have 2 different windows, dual monitors per se, supported. But otherwise, I mean, you can just make it into one gigantic screen, and that's pretty cool too. Next question is, can it connect to a Mac Studio as well? I have seen some misinformation floating around, whether it be desktop, laptop, or both. A lot of people think it's just laptops, and I thought that too. And honestly, when you look at your Mac, if you have a MacBook Pro up in front of you and you look at the screen, it'll pop up, say connect. It does not do that with a, or at least I have not seen it do that with a desktop. So I have a Mac Pro here. I'm sorry, the Mac Mini with the Pro, and then a Mac Studio. And you can connect to both of them. You just got to go into Control Center and go to the screen mirror option and turn it on that way. It takes an extra couple seconds to do. It's not as cool as like watching it pop up in front of you and hitting connect, but it does work. And so assuming you meet the hardware and software qualifications, which I think most recent Macs will probably work, and you're on the right software, it should be fine. You just might have to go into Control Center to manually turn it on. Next question, how is the virtual Mac screen quality compared to an Apple Display XDR? I'm guessing they mean the Pro Display XDR. I'll compare it to that and the Studio. So I think it's totally fine. It looks really good. I believe it's rendering in 4K, which is obviously not better than a Pro Display XDR. That's at 6K and slightly less resolution than a Studio Display, which I believe is at 5K. But I can also make this gigantic and put it anywhere in my space, which is something you can't technically do with any other monitor. It's definitely usable for long periods of time. You can make this 100% your workflow setup for life. All right, accessibility. I got a lot of questions about accessibility. They were more or less the same. And so that was, can you show the accessibility features? Does it have live captions like the iPhone? So I can answer that one specifically. I looked it up. I don't believe it does. I looked for live captions. I don't see it. I had to go check on my phone for cross-reference. It's just not there. So I'm going to say no. Unless it's hidden somewhere else, but I searched in the menu and I don't see it. But in terms of accessibility features, there are lots. There's still the voiceover stuff. There's still a lot of the controls that you can do, zoom options, display options. There's a lot here that you can go through. I know one question specifically somebody asked if you couldn't see in one eye, would this still work? And the answer seems to be yes as well. You can change from both eyes or left eye or right eye as your main input. So if only one eye works for you, then you can pick which eye that is, and that'll be the eye that it tracks using the headset. So you're not going to be left out in that regard, which is really cool. There are lots of accessibility features there, and you can kind of pause the video if you need to and check out the full list. Do you think you'd be able to handle the weight and pressure without the dual loop band? I was so disappointed with the solo nip band and couldn't imagine wearing it for any length of time. So I'm kind of torn on this. It does feel better while using the solo band each and every time I do, but almost every time I take it off, my face is like, oh, finally, I can breathe. And there's almost always some severe marks on your face. I do think that the other band that has the strap along the back and the top is the dual band. That I believe that is way more comfortable to use, but it's not as cool looking. And honestly, I really do like the solo band to quickly take it on and off. It just feels better to do that. And I love the tightening thing. I wish that made its way over to the other band. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to wear it for a long period of time, I think you should just use that band pretty much all the time. But it's a shame. The solo band just looks a lot better. Someone also said that I was wearing the solo band wrong and that you need to have it like kind of up towards the top here more so that it's putting more pressure on your forehead. I did not find that to be any more comfortable at all. So to each its own. If it's working for you, cool. But that's really weird to say that that's going to be the case for everybody. Vision Pro was also constantly telling me to get the headset down a bit more when I did that so that it's eye level so that I can track your eyes a lot better. All right, and then lastly, we have a bunch of miscellaneous questions that I'll try to get through pretty quickly. But this one says, Face ID on the iPhone will not work so that you can unlock via the headset. I didn't really understand the question, but what I think you meant to say was that Face ID, when you use your iPhone, is not going to work if you're wearing the headset, obviously, because you're wearing a headset, so it can't look at your face. So can you unlock via the headset, unlock your iPhone? No, but that would be cool. You need to use your passcode on your phone. But that would be really nice if there was some sort of like aware feature that knows that my phone's nearby, I'm at a preferred location maybe, and I have the headset on. I would like my phone to be auto unlocked while the headset is on. It's best to just use your honestly, using your iPhone kind of sucks when you have your headset on because it's hard to see, so I just wouldn't use your iPhone. Next question says, it would be interesting to see a video edited using it. Show where parts of the end-to-end process break down, if at all. Bonus points for trying to use some of the native apps and not only the macOS companion mode. And my response to that is, I don't know that I can fully edit a video natively without using the Mac. I could definitely do the Mac thing, and I will do that soon. But using like the Final Cut for iPad app on Vision Pro is going to be challenging unless it's something like this where I need to only maybe airdrop this file to my headset and then screen record from the headset, I can maybe get away with that. But mostly the main thing here is going to be, where am I getting all these files from? I'd have to probably do some sort of airdropping and figure it out. And I don't know that I want to do that, but it is an option. If I'm wearing my Vision Pro and a friend is nearby or on the same Wi-Fi network as me, can we share play from our Vision Pros? I do not have any way to test this because I don't know anyone else near me that has one, but I'd imagine, yes, it's going to work exactly the same way SharePlay works, regardless of what network or location you're in. You could just, if you're in a FaceTime call, you can add SharePlay or invite them via the share sheet or something. I'm guessing it'll work that way. I actually did try SharePlay. You can't see what we're watching because, again, screen recording blocks that out. But you can see here that SharePlay works. I got confirmation from Kevin on the other end that he was watching the same thing I was watching, and I had a good time using that. It was pretty fun. Should I start recording special family moments in Apple Vision Pro format on my iPhone 15 Pro so that someday I can re-experience them when it's more affordable? And my answer to that is yes, absolutely. But I also think that the spatial portion of photos and videos done on the Vision Pro itself is way better. It feels far more 3D-like and is a great representation of what you're seeing on the headset. It just looks a lot better from that perspective. The iPhone might have the crispier lenses and the higher resolution and stuff that you can record, but this does such a better job at mapping the spatial part of the image that is just not even close. So yeah, you're going to lose some of that fidelity, and it's not going to look as good in terms of like the picture. But the 3D I can't even say that word. The 3D immersion or immersiveness of that is way better when you actually use the headset. The biggest downfall is that if you really want to capture that, you're going to have to wear your headset a lot in those otherwise special moments where you probably should be more present and not have the headset on. But yeah, I mean, this video of my dog that I'm probably replaying, or a couple pictures of my kids, they really feel like they're right there in front of me, and then I can like reach out and touch their hand or pet my dog like I was doing in the video. It is wild, and it's not the same level of immersiveness that you get when you take a video on your iPhone. And those are good, but this is way better when you use the headset to do it. All right, this next question says, I'm an Apple fanatic, but is spending $34.99 worth it? So my answer to that is, I don't know. There's a very real possibility that in one day you could use it, and then the next day you would have no desire to use it anymore. And it could literally be just as quickly as that. One day you like it, the next day you don't. Or it could be a novelty item that you find really cool and try to force yourself to use because you spent $3,500 on it for a few months, and then ultimately it might get pushed aside. That is a very real possibility. But if you're cool with that outcome, then yeah, purchase it immediately. It is absolutely awesome and really fun to play with. Can you talk about the movie watching experience, especially 3D titles? How big can you make it sitting at a normal hall, etc.? All right, I don't really know what the exact specifications are, but you can make the screen gigantic. I mean, probably bigger than any screen in theory that you'd ever watch content on, aside from like the actual movie theater display. Cinema mode makes it feel like I am in an empty movie theater. Unfortunately, again, I don't know that you can really understand that from this demo here because the content gets blacked out when I screen record, but maybe you can see kind of what the cinema mode is, which is like the feeling that you're in a movie theater. And you can also see that I can change my seat location. You can sit in the middle, you can sit in the front, you can sit in the balcony. That is awesome, and by far one of my favorite things when watching content. It's definitely my favorite environment, but unfortunately it's only limited to what I believe is the Apple TV app. So I kind of wish that would be kind of put in all of the media player apps or the media apps that use that media player. That would be cool, but right now that's not the case. So highly recommend it for content. It is by far the best type of device. And I hope I answered as many questions as I could. You can always hit me up on X, Instagram, comment section here. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any more questions, and I will try to answer some more of those in my review coming later on. So please subscribe so you don't miss that video. But before we end today's video, I do want to give you more information about today's sponsor, Keeper. So we have a million devices these days. We have new tablets, phones, gaming systems, and now sprinkle in Apple Vision Pro, AR headsets, VR headsets. Adding in passwords and setting up devices can be entirely way too cumbersome. And so it's super frustrating, and then you have to jump through all of these hoops to set up all of your accounts. And so that's why I removed the stress of remembering and entering passwords with Keeper Password Manager, which is the sponsor of today's video. I've been a longtime Keeper user, and here's why. Keeper is the most secure, certified, tested, and audited password security platform in the world. I can rest easy knowing that my accounts are protected with full zero trust and zero knowledge security. And it works on every platform and every device. Keeper also supports passkeys as well. And so again, every password is huge. Getting an Apple Vision Pro this week, or just get one and you're like, man, I need to enter in all my don't forget about Keeper. Start now, get it loaded up so that you can use it across all of your platforms. Plus, you can easily share logins with friends and family using their hyper-secure sharing capabilities. You can also amp up your online security with strong and unique passwords for every account. And so right now, you can get a massive deal for our readers and viewers out there, 50% off with code MacRumors50. Or give it a test run. If you want to try it for 30 days, you can do that. There's a free trial. But all of that information and the link is in the description down below. Highly recommend you go there, click that link, try out that 30-day free trial, and then when you're ready to keep going, which I bet you will, definitely use MacRumors50 to get 50% off. Thanks, Keeper, for sponsoring this video. And as always, this has been Dan with MacRumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you around in the next video.